Hey everybody, welcome back to Race of History. We are going to get into Far From the Fame, a song by Sabaton. They just put out a lyric video for it in the last couple of days. I'm not sure when exactly it was. It just popped up on my timeline. When I looked at the song, like put it in online, looked at it, I had never heard of the person it was about or anything like that. I read a little bit of who it's about. It's a Czech, I believe, pilot who served in World War II and maybe even in World War I, but for sure in World War II fought in the Battle of Britain. But that was basically all that I got out of it was that. So Czech guy fought in the Battle of Britain on the side of the Allies as a Czech. And I'm really curious to know like what the rest of his story is. You know, when they single in on one person or something like that, I feel like the story is always incredible. So I'm anxious to get in the song, but I'm also anxious to get into the Sabaton history for it to see who this guy is and what his life was like, because I'm sure this story is crazy. I will put the Discord link in the comments below. We've been growing the Discord recently, so if you want to join, you can put in channel recommendations and things like that, and just have conversations with other people about general topics, history topics, whatever. You can do that in the Discord, so I'll put the link down below. With all that being said, let's get into it. Sabaton, Far From the Fame. Okay, before the guitar goes nuts, I've talked about this in the comments before with somebody, but I took a class in college on essentially the World War II for Czechoslovakia and then all the way through the Velvet Revolution. And so it was this chunk of time. It's a rough go. right? So in World War II, you have the Nazis, obviously. And so it's a very precarious situation on that side. And right after the end of World War II, Czechoslovakia goes into this weird, well, they do what a lot of countries did in this time period, especially in this part of the world, where you have this really hard push and pull between communist and anti-communist, right? So this is not specific to Czechoslovakia. This communist versus anti-communist political push and pull is happening in other countries at this time. But it's, honestly, it kind of looks like the buildup to World War II in some cases, because in the buildup to World War II, you have this push and pull between kind of extremes, right? That happens when things aren't going well, right? When countries are in chaos, people want stability. They tend to gravitate more towards the extremes than they do when things are going well and everything is, on the up and up. And so going into World War II, you had these countries that had this push and pull between the extremes, right? You had fascists, you had communists, you had really these authoritarian ideas and policies and people pushing for these policies, and it was this constant kind of push and pull, and that sort of sparked and led into the rise of some of the countries that we saw in and around World War II, right? A very similar thing is happening post-war. In a lot of these places, there's a lot of devastation. Things have been wrecked. Everything is turned upside down. And again, it's this push and pull that you get to. And because the Soviet Union is so involved in trying to get some of these places to go communist, and honestly, we're talking about the places that they were just pushing, because in a lot of places there wasn't a ton of choice, but there were places where they were trying to push for the communists to win out. And what happened was you had this situation where, like the video is talking about, people like this guy go home after fighting the war to a Czechoslovakia that they don't really recognize. Like it's a different world, it's a different place. It said in there that his siblings and wife, did it say his siblings died or were just sent to the torture camps, but his wife died over it? I'm guessing that's because of who he was. It's just a gruesome time period, right? It's a brutal stretch of time here for not just Czechoslovakia, but a whole string of countries coming out of World War II. But how terrible is it that you fight, you're fighting for the Czechs. Like, you are Czech fighting for Czechoslovakia, and then you're jailed when you get back, because you don't, you're not on board with the tide. So Okay, so that was Sabaton, Far From the Fame. I like the like quick hits going into the chorus, the far, 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 and the percussion like hitting with it. I felt like that was cool. And I always talk, I feel like in all their songs about how they just let guitar shred at some point in the song. But yeah, that was a great one. I'm anxious to get into the Sabaton history for it because, man, like I said, just a brutal time period. But I'm sure the guy did incredible, incredible things. So, yeah, that should be out either later this afternoon or tomorrow. And then also, I'm about to get into the 3-part Sabaton history series. I think it's over something to do with either Corollas Rex or the time period of that. I've had that 3-part sent to me a lot. So those will be coming out soon. With all that being said, as always, like, comment, subscribe. Help me keep building the channel over here, and I will see you all next time.